Hello, everybody. Welcome to another Monday, Mentorship Monday with Michelle and Maren. All things spiritual, all kinds of fun conversations that we have. We're always happy to have you guys here every single Monday at 7 p.m. Eastern. Hi, Maren. How is it going?
Hello, Michelle. Oh my gosh, I forgot this is not plugged in. I was like leaning into it and
Yeah,
it's not plugged in.
we've had a little
Um,
echoing issue. We're kind of laughing a little bit because right before we came on, we were talking. I was showing Maren that I have this little bit of a black eye under here, if you all can see. And I was just telling her, I'm like, look at this. I don't know if you can see it too well, but I was loading my groceries in the back of the truck yesterday, and I lifted a bag, and the corner of the bag, like, hit me in the eye. I was sitting there like, oh, but I didn't really think I hurt myself that bad. And this morning I woke up and my grocery bag really knocked me in the corner of my eye. And Maren also had a little grocery incident.
I don't know how I cut my finger
Yeah,
looking at I like picked up a box and like the corner of or the edge of the box like sliced my finger. So we're like,
yeah,
I don't know, that's so weird. Grocery injuries, like
it
I don't
is.
know.
And we were just saying that the little message that came with it was about happiness, and truthfully, it's reminding us about our humanness, right? Reminding us about being in our body and all of these things, because we talk about so many different things. We're multidimensional, and things happen. We've got lots of things on our mind, and when we have something happen, it helps slow us down and remember that, wait a minute, I am human. I bump, I bruise, I bleed. I've got all of these physical sensations that go on, so it brings us back into our body. And that's the first thing that I was just thinking right now is when that happened, it was, I mean, I had a good laugh. So I will say happiness, and we both just had a good laugh. So, you know,
It is
it's a win.
happiness.
It is happiness because it's lighthearted. I mean, stuff happens. Stuff
Yeah.
happens. It could be something else, and it's just a little reminder that I need to keep my eye on what I'm doing.
No pun intended.
But anyway, so
Um,
how was your week?
okay, so good news, bad news.
Okay.
I think I've told you before, I get like perioral dermatitis, and like once you
Mm-hmm.
get it once, it like comes back um more free, like you're more prone to have it come back. So and then when it comes back, it's harder to get rid of. So it's like the
Mm-hmm.
first time I did it, I just put a little cream on it that the
Mm-hmm.
dermatologist gave me, and it like went away in a week. And then the second time, it like took 2 weeks, and then the third time, it took like 6 months. And so it has come back. It's like right
Mm-hmm.
under my eye. My eye is like all puffy. So you get perioral is like around your mouth, which I always get, but
Mm-hmm.
then you can
Mm-hmm.
also get peri like ocular, and I get it
Mm-hmm.
around my eye. And so I was like, oh my gosh, what can I do? And so I was like, I'm gonna cure this once and for all. And then I'm gonna start an Instagram about all the things I did to cure it so that all the poor people like me, because it's so funny. I was looking on Instagram, like, surely somebody's cured it. And there was this girl, and she was like, well, it looks good today. Oh, then I tried this and it looks bad. No, it's good. No, it's bad. No, it's good.
Yeah.
And I'm like, oh my God, God bless her. Like that is like my struggle.
Yeah.
So anyway, so I was really looking into like, and like, I don't want to go and get on antibiotics and all the things that the dermatologist does. Like, I'm like, I know that there's a root cause and I'm going to
Mm-hmm.
find the root cause.
Mm-hmm.
Um, which I think the root cause has like a lot to do with gut bacteria, um, and like facial bacteria, whatever, your
Mm-hmm.
microbiome,
Mm-hmm.
your facial
Yes.
microbiome.
That's what I just heard. Yes.
Yes. And so I'm like been trying to like repair my microbiome, but
Mm-hmm.
my face is so sensitive it can't even like tolerate like the repairing like creams and stuff. It like just sets it off even more. So I've got to like heal it to a point to then like
Mm-hmm.
use those products.
Yes.
Um, but I heard that red light therapy is really good. And that's been like a buzzword in my world for a while now with like healing and especially like spiritual healing and kind of like the
Mm-hmm.
holistic healing, like this red
Mm-hmm.
light therapy.
Mm-hmm.
So I bought a red light mask. I look really good. Can I show it to you? Do you want to
Yes,
see it?
yes, yes, I
Okay.
do. Yes, I do.
So I look a little crazy. This is my red light mask. Hold
Your
on.
your goalie mask.
I know. There's some that like you seriously look like Jason. This is my red light mask.
Now that is fantastic.
It also, hold on. It also does blue light
Interesting.
and it
Okay, so
does
what is the do you know what the different
different.
colors like do they have different reasons,
Oh, oh, I know the difference.
frequencies?
Of course, yes. And hold on, infrared. I think this is the infrared. Looks a lot like the blue. I think it looks a lot like the blue on camera.
Yeah.
But but yes, so I have been like researching up a storm about light frequencies. So you have
Mhm.
like your light spectrum, right?
Mhm.
Your
Mhm.
electromagnetic spectrum. X-rays are like the low end, and gamma rays are the high end, and your light is in the middle. And red light is on the high end, blue light's on the low end. And so it'll go like red light or blue light can get like your top layer of skin, and
Mhm.
then red light can pierce all the way down to like your epidermis. So like blue light gets the
Mhm.
dermis, red light gets the epidermis. But
Mhm.
it what it does is it stimulates the mitochondrial cells
Mhm.
into like, and those are your like your energy cells. And so it
Yep.
stimulates healing, stimulates blood flow, stimulates like production of
Mhm.
everything. Like, I mean, so it like reduces your pores, it heals
Hmm.
scars, it reduces acne, it kills
Mhm.
bacteria. Like, there's
Mhm.
so many things that it does, which is
Mhm.
amazing. But
Yep.
even more so, as I was researching, it's good for mental clarity because it's activating that mitochondrial. So you
Mhm.
can like, it's going to go to your brain and give you like more mental clarity. It's good for anxiety
Hmm.
because the red light is when it like stimulates the mitochondria, somehow it grounds you, which red is grounding, which is really
Yep.
interesting. And
Yep.
then that helps alleviate the like anxious feelings.
Hmm.
It alleviates depression. And these are
Yeah.
all researched. Like I went to like a
Yep.
research site. Alleviates
Yep.
depression, alleviates seasonal depressive disorder,
Mhm.
um, and anxiety, depression, seasonal depressive disorder, improve mental clarity, and then of course, facial healing.
Well, it's interesting because Shelby, so after Shelby had her motorcycle accident in 23, she started doing red light therapy for the scars. So
Yes.
to heal, and it really made a difference. It really helped her. And,
Wow.
some people are like, well, I don't know if that'll really work. Well, it really helped her. It also, I mean, at that time processing everything as well, there was a great benefit and she felt really good after she would use it. So
Yeah.
she noticed with the consistency of it, she felt
Yeah.
really good. So it'd be interesting. There's my throat. So it's connected to your throat chakra. What's
Hmm.
going on? So anything in your ears, so ears, so in this area, ears, nose, throat is all connected into the throat chakra.
Well, it's interesting because usually like I'll get perioral dermatitis and then when it gets out of control, it goes to my eye and or my eyes. And
Yeah.
it's been very interesting that it stayed with this one eye, and that's the same
Hmm.
eye that that man has been blinking. And so I was like, I wonder if this is like somehow spiritually related
Yes.
to the like,
Yeah.
yeah, to the throat
Yeah.
chakra that I'm not connecting, and that I'm like, I
There's
need
just
to.
there's some vibrational frequency and well, so as
Get it out
as
for
you're
me,
saying
Michelle.
this, um I know. As you're saying this, like I had somebody connect with me this week, and they were experiencing a lot of symptoms with their throat, and some other, just some interesting symptoms. And then somebody else came to me having symptoms related to that. And so I've noticed that there's this little cycle. So it's been going on for maybe about, well, when was our moon? That was last week. So maybe about a week or so. But there's been a cycle of eyes, ears, and throat that people are having
Mm.
that aren't necessarily something that they know exactly what it is. So it could be, from rashes to a feeling of like water clearing from their ear, like different things like that. And what I was getting was a lot of these things are related into the throat chakra, and it's the vibrational shifting. So when you have more light coming in, when you have um it, because as we're shifting vibration, and rather than thinking of it as raising, we're continuously expanding. So we're going to expand to these new levels. I try not to use those terms because it's not exactly like that, because it's not a higher net, even though we feel higher when we raise vibration, but it's more of a like, think of it like a washing machine. As we're washing our clothes, there might be a stain, and every time you wash it, that stain gets lighter and lighter and lighter,
Yeah.
right? So it lifts, it lifts, it lifts. So it's more of a lifting. And what I'm feeling for you is that there's a lot that's coming in that area that's expanding. And so that energy, so it's like a new space. And of course, when we have something that we're going to get to the root of, that's where discovery is. So with the red light, with vibration, with frequency, so everything, and that's just a testimony right there to everything that we experience has these layers, these different layers of learning, of expansion and
Yeah.
understanding. Because it's like a journey within a journey within a journey. Because there's never really one reason why something's happening.
Yeah.
And, so you could have that perspective of, this is the physical, is the, periodontal dermatitis. That's the third dimensional. Then there's all of these other frequencies of what's going on. And it's very interesting when you start going into it, because you are, and have been for quite a while, having these rapid bursts of expansion. So when something new comes, it's like you burst over top of it and more settles in. And you're going to have that really quite a bit over this year. Many of us are. So I'm really
Well,
excited to see what keeps coming from there.
I feel like this lady came to visit me this week, and I feel like she's somehow related to this because of her background, I guess. I don't know. So I was trying to tell my husband, he didn't understand, so maybe you'll understand.
Yeah.
But she looked like she was in a diamond. Like her background looked so like shiny and reflective.
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, is that a diamond? But then I like wasn't sure. And then I got out this crystal book because I was looking at something um for something else. And like this diamond appeared, and I was like, that is the exact like background. Like this is, if this is
Yeah.
what it was. And then she was like
Yeah.
talking in front of this.
Yeah.
And I don't know, she just was so curious to me. And I think I was more interested in her background than like her. I was like, wow, what is that? Is that a diamond? What is that? And then because they always come before I fall asleep. And then of course I fell off to sleep. But I would,
Did you feel that she was a guide?
oh, like 100%, like a guide, or like a, like almost like a being from a different realm.
What? It's
Like,
Atlantean. Atlantean.
okay,
Yeah.
okay.
Yeah, I
That
feel
makes sense.
right in my heart. As soon as I just
Yeah.
said that, it just starts warming up here. It's
Okay,
Atlantean.
that makes sense. I
Yeah.
feel like I kind of got that too. And then of course I forgot. But yeah, I like felt like, okay, you are like connected to
Yeah.
somewhere not here. Very cool. Oh, she was very
Yeah.
cool.
That's so
Um,
interesting.
I wonder if that is related to this, but back to light. So what I found so interesting as I was reading, because there's like the electromagnetic scale, and I was like, well, where does sound waves like lie on this scale? Because we use sound for healing and we go to our sound frequencies um and they were like, oh, sound waves are not on the electromagnetic scale. They are mechanical waves and they can only exist through moving through a like substance, right? Through like air waves. So they like push the air waves, and that's like what or how you're hearing. So it's like a mechanical wave
Hmm.
versus light, and anything on the electromagnetic spectrum can exist within a vacuum. And I was like, oh my gosh, I don't know. That just makes so much sense to me. Like why
Yeah.
orbs, like why you can see orbs, that they can like cross the
Yeah.
dimensions so
Yeah.
easily. Like,
Hmm.
isn't that so interesting?
It really is. It really is. And it makes so much sense because it was the understanding of the electromagnetic field and understanding vibration, sound, and the light spectrums to help me understand our physicality, and what we're perceiving. Because I really was researching in the beginning of how is this possible? Like, how am I seeing these things? You
Mm-hmm.
know, because there's that line, and maybe for some people it's different, but for me, I remember there was this line of I need to put it into some sort of science. I have to
Yeah.
understand it in some way that really helped me solidify my belief system. And
Yeah.
in that, it really helped open everything up. So what you're saying makes so much sense. And it's important for us to understand because our science, and I'll say our collective science, not all scientists, our collective mainstream science has a lot of information out there that supports a great deal of what we're doing. But it's the mainstream, the connection, it's the bridging of all this information and putting it together that is not as in the forefront as what it will be. So there's a lot of
Mm-hmm.
things that we're doing, for many of us that are channeling and able to see through this one, what do they say, the 1%, what we actually see with the physical eyes, the senses is like 1% of the entire spectrum. Is so
Yeah.
much greater than that. So it amazes me because what I feel, and what has been um given to me over the years is that our understanding of this and our expansion in our consciousness, this will become more mainstream. This will be much further understood, and that it will be something that is like, it's not talked about in little corners over here and here. It's something that has a lot of information and
Yeah.
studies, to really show people and help people understand what it is so that they can understand their reality and how they exist, right? Because
Okay.
once you understand, everything changes.
All right, so are you ready for me to blow your mind? I don't know if you know
Yeah.
this fact, but this blew my mind.
Okay.
So then I was researching about light spectrum, right, and consciousness. And so there are some theories that believe that, like, as we expand our consciousness, we can see more on the light spectrum,
Hmm.
and that um, the ancient Greeks, now this is disputed a little bit, but for the
Hmm.
most part, believed the ancient Greeks couldn't see the color blue.
Interesting.
Isn't that interesting that they like
Yeah.
referred to the water as like dark wine or something like that? Like they couldn't. see blue. So like blue was in front of them, but they just couldn't categorize it or separate it from like other, like from green. They couldn't like see it distinctly as its own color. And the theory is that as our consciousness has evolved and our collective consciousness has like unveiled it, now we all see it.
Okay, let me throw something out here when you just said
Okay.
that. What if we think back to like the Red Sea? Like, because I just heard parting of the Red Sea. Was that was that the spectrum of light? Was the Red Sea called the Red Sea because of the view, the spectrum of light, and maybe not
Oh,
perceiving it? Do you get what I'm saying?
oh, like instead of being called the blue sea because they couldn't see like the
Yeah,
blue. Oh,
yeah.
I
Like
don't know. That I
like
didn't
that
think about that. I didn't like how
that
did it
just
get its
popped
name?
right. That just popped in.
Yeah,
That just popped in my head as like the parting of the Red Sea. And, was it interpreted? Was it looked at
yeah, yeah,
differently because of the spectrum of visibility and
yeah.
consciousness and where all that understanding was? That's very interesting to me.
That could be. Yeah.
Hmm.
So skeptics of this theory
Mm-hmm.
say, and there are scientists that believe this theory, and there are scientists that
Okay.
don't believe this theory.
Okay.
So, you know,
Yeah. Yeah. It's
it's
always
it's
polarity. Yeah.
right, exactly. But they're like, well, how come they had pottery that had blue, or how come they liked a blue? They had like blue crystals in their brooches and things like that. Like how they had blue, they attained blue. So I think that they knew blue, but I'm like, no, I don't think so because the
They would
theory
have
says
seen it as red.
that exactly or green or whatever, but they would have
Yeah.
seen it as another color, not what we see it as today because
Yeah.
their consciousness can't see it. And then that makes me think like, wow, like what things are we not seeing right now that are in our
Okay.
own reality that we're not seeing? Like AKA aliens, like our collective conscious
Yes.
won't like, you know, realize that they're
Yes.
there. So we're not seeing them.
That
And
makes
then
complete sense. And
doesn't
I'm
it?
sorry, I don't mean to cut you off. I just want to
No,
say
you're
this
fine.
before it runs out of my head, but um I'm sure you've experienced this too, but in many channelings or bringing spirits through, they talk about their experience beyond physicality and the colors. Even if you go into near death experience, and many near death experiencers, the NDEs, will talk about what they viewed and that our language doesn't have a description for the colors. And so I'm thinking of one that I channel regularly, in particular, not Eric, another gentleman, and for his family. And he'll often describe the trees. He'll describe this experience through the trees. And the visual that he gives me, he even says to me that I don't have reference for what they look like. So he shows me the trees as aqua. The leaves are aqua because he says that that's the only color in my reference that I'm able to see, that I can understand. So, but
Wow.
he gives me that it's beyond that. The spectrum is beyond that. So that makes a lot of sense to what has come through from different spirits
Yeah,
explaining, the shades, the vibrancy, what we see.
yeah, yeah. That makes so
Interesting.
much sense. That is
Yeah.
so interesting, isn't it?
Yeah.
It's so interesting.
Yeah.
So I have been fascinated by color this week, you know, versus from the healing aspect and how it can heal your body to the
Yeah.
fact that it can last in a vacuum and which totally is how I am envisioning this like spirit travel, right?
Yes.
And
Yeah.
then to the fact that as our consciousness grows, we can increase our awareness of what things are out there through
Yes.
like I'm learning this all through color. I think it's amazing. It reminds me of one of the dreams I had when I first um had like my awakening. I
Hmm.
remember I was talking to these light, like it was just these like strobe light,
Yeah.
and they
Yes.
were like always, but they would like glow.
Yeah. Yes.
And I knew what they were saying, but they were just light. And it was
Yes.
so like, and I just remember saying like thinking like, how do I know what they're saying when they're just light? And like, what are they? And I don't know, so interesting.
That is how many spirits come through to me as like light. So in my
Yeah.
third eye, and even some human spirits, but many of the interdimensional beings, many guides will come through with a um almost like a yellowy golden, I want to say like a molecular structure, but it's beams of light.
Hmm.
And I'm not seeing physical, but I can see it's almost like a speaker, like how you see those speakers that have colors and they move to the beat
Oh yeah, 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 yeah.
like that. So I've seen that. I've seen that reference, and it just it never ceases to amaze me. I don't think this will ever get old because every day there is something new, or there is more. I'm just hearing, well, when your intention is to continue to expand and work on the awareness, the mindfulness of it, and keep exploring, you will continue to grow. And so it's like seeing all these things, or feeling, knowing things that, okay, I understand it at this space of my consciousness. But as my consciousness expands, I understand it on another level.
Yes. Yes.
Pretty
So
amazing.
cool. It is so cool. Yeah.
Yeah, it really
Well,
is.
I highly recommend red light laser for increasing your meditations,
Yeah,
um, and your calm, your mental clarity, helping with any anxiety, depression, because it is a true light wave, light form that gets in
yeah,
there. It's not woo
yeah,
woo. There's so much science behind it.
yeah.
Um, and then, yeah, and then so I would imagine that. But this, I haven't gotten this far yet. So now I'm like, okay, I've got more research to do. But it's like, because there's sound healing too, right? So I'm imagining that the light
Right.
waves somehow get through to your like electromagnetic. And we talk about our aura and our aura's
Yes.
color, and that's our electromagnetic energy field, right? And that's why we see color with our aura. And then the sound healing is actually physically like
Yes.
vibrating your
Yeah.
body to a certain feeling
Yeah.
because it's that mechanical energy.
That's right.
So, so interesting.
So by putting the doing the red light therapy and adding some frequency sound, like adding some sounds
Oh,
to it that are targeted to different things, like a different
mm,
level,
good
that would be
idea.
a very interesting experience. And
Like double healing. Yeah.
yeah, as you're going through this, you'll have to check back with us and let us know what you've discovered, what you've
Okay.
experienced through the process, because I think that, I had a message yesterday that came in from Spirit that was talking about our belief system. And the message was, how far is your, like, where are you at with the belief system? How far stretched is what it is that you are um believing or saying or doing to where your belief is now, and the importance of sharing information, because it helps many take those steps in their belief system to be able to create
Mm-hmm.
their own discoveries,
Mm-hmm.
you know? And so it was that message of to share what it is that you're experiencing, and to allow others to take that in, not as you must do it this way and this is your experience, but to take it in as a reference of possibilities, so that you can take those possibilities and make them your own and create your own. And I'm so interested in what you're doing, because I feel like there's going to be a lot of interesting healing discoveries through this, because there's no mistake. We know there's no mistakes, there's no coincidences to how things happen. I really feel this spiritual, we'll say, gentleman that has been twitching over here. And what has happened and drawn you to the red light therapy and even this conversation has, I'm seeing a flower, like an unfolding and
Oh,
some more
okay.
information. So really
So
cool.
I tried to connect to him one night
Hmm.
because I he was twitching my eye, and so I tried to connect, and I saw this like this man from a different time period. Like he had
Hmm.
on those like when like guys used to wear kind of like high heels, like those like they're not high heels, but they're
Yeah, I
like
know what you mean.
the thick heel
Did
sole.
did he have a hat on?
I don't know if he had a hat. I don't know if he had a hat. I I could see the shoes and I could hear the shoes like walking on the floor. And then I would see him looking out the window and I would see him like writing and looking out the window. And he seemed like he was very like into his own thoughts. And he was like very like, I don't know what that would be like theoretical or a thinker.
Would
And
if I'll give you a name. Tell me if this feels correct. Nicola,
I mean, like that would definitely matches his look.
like um a man that likes to explore with frequency and sound and creation, like Nikola Tesla.
Okay. I saw him with so I saw him with a book, writing in a book, but I also saw him with like a big like almost looked like a big map or something that he was like looking at. So I don't know, there's definitely no sound in a map, but like he seemed I mean it totally could be. I don't know.
Well, what I would do is I would, when you have, when you feel that moment, call him in and see if that
Okay.
matches what you're feeling because
Okay.
I've got a lot of energy spinning around over here and
Okay.
that's whose energy is here.
All right. Well, if that's his energy and he's there, I would imagine that there's a reason. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Now you're gonna make me
And
look up a picture of him.
yeah,
Okay.
I don't know what his shoes look like, but
I
he
know. I
was
don't know if
what was
Nikola
he
Tesla
early?
might have been eight. See, Nikola Tesla might have been
He
1800s, and this, I think those shoes were more like 16, 1700s. They always show me their shoes, and that's
yeah.
how I always like gain their personality. And I'm like, I just love that like the spirits know. Show me, I'll show you my shoes, and then you'll get more information
Well,
about
there's definitely a connection to his energy because his and I would do a little bit of research just
Yeah.
with Tesla and some of what we've been talking about today because his energy is present and so I keep getting the discovery, frequency and vibration, the discovery. And so there's definitely something to that
Yeah,
because he's
his shoes are too
yeah.
recent. Here's his shoes.
Yeah, I think he was early 1900s into the like he was in our century.
I wonder who was before him.
Well, that's what I just got was don't discount that energy just because of that time frame.
Yeah.
So there's somebody connected because it's definitely coming because it's as we say it like there's an increase of the energy up here on my male side going
Yeah.
as we're saying it. So it's definitely something through there. So maybe do a little research, see who inspired him or
Who's like Benjamin Franklin? He's the one that got struck by lightning.
yes, something like that. I don't know. I don't know for sure if it was him, but Benjamin Franklin, his frequency is I do feel him in that same energy as Tesla. And as I'm saying this, just to describe what if anybody's wondering how I'm doing that, it's not, I'm not connecting into their spirit like they're right here
Yes,
talking to me. It's more like when we have a conversation, which is a little different. Sometimes they will come in closer, but when we have a conversation like this, it's almost like a beach ball of energy
you
beside
guys.
me. Yeah.
I'm like my heart kind of like sunk because this is like what I saw. Like even like that clip,
Okay.
white, tall white
Okay.
socks and the little clip,
Okay.
and there's a little heel to the
So what's the
shoe.
connection? What's the connection between Benjamin Franklin and Nikola Tesla?
Oh, look right here with this paper. Look at these. Oh man, this is them. Look at that.
Yeah.
Those are the shoes. And
Yeah.
then look, he's like at this desk, which I think that's Washington, but I don't know. I'll have to look
Oh
and see
yeah.
what he,
Yeah.
but like that's
Okay.
what I saw. Now, I don't know if I saw a bald guy, but this is him. The guy I saw was a little bit thinner than him. So I don't know if it was like him younger in life or if it was someone similar to him, but that time period. Like, look, they're saying this is a Benjamin, this is what he looked like when he was younger, Benjamin Franklin younger.
And so you just saw his feet. You didn't see anything.
Well, I saw his feet and then I saw him looking out the window. So I didn't see his
Okay.
face. Like I feel like I was kind of like in the background and then I was watching him in this little room. See, he was Benjamin Franklin in the kite experiment.
Okay, so that was the lightning, right?
Yeah.
Okay. Well, they were both inventors. Benjamin Franklin and Nikola Tesla were both inventors and innovators who contributed the understanding of electricity. The experiments with lightning in 1752 helped establish the idea that electricity has a positive and negative charge. Tesla's partnership with George Westinghouse led to many new advances in electrical engineering. Tesla, the master of lightning, timeline of electricity, explores Tesla's life and work. Okay, so there's definitely a little an arrow of an arrow of spiritual energy that is surrounding
Oh
everything.
my
What?
God.
What?
I said, sorry, I said, who discovered the light spectrum? Because that's what we've been talking about. And it's Sir Isaac Newton. And look at him. He fits perfectly. He's slender. He's in a small room. He's looking through, like,
Oh, interesting. Well, there's your man.
I think it's Sir Isaac Newton. Totally, totally.
So so
He looks this, yeah, this is, wow. Okay.
so think about think about all of these, what we were saying about all the little connections of um like the reasons why something happens or why we have something that leads us to experimenting or learning, because the conversation of the light spectrum and that today, from what you're experiencing this week, is coming from that energy on that side of what you've been feeling. And what
Like,
I'm hearing is innovators, discovery.
I cannot even, like, this, you guys, this room, like, I was like, gosh, it
That's
kind of looked like he was in an attic. Like, he looked like he was in like an attic, like the wood floors in this room, the socks, the shoes, the
that's
longer
exactly
hair, the
exactly
thinner
how you were
guy.
describing it. Hmm.
Yeah. So interesting. Okay.
So I think it would be very interesting for next week. We have an interview um planned, but I think it'd be really interesting if you called him in, called in those that would like to speak about light and frequency. And obviously, Mr. Newton, Sir Newton, is quite aware of your discovery, and I think is giving you these gentle pushes. And possibly there is an experiment taking place of what you're healing, not only for yourself, but what you're bringing forward for us to share, what you're
Yeah.
bringing forward for everyone to share, because I feel there's something to this. There's
Yeah.
something more to this. So there's a bit
Yeah.
of a discovery process that's happening. And as I'm saying this, like my left hand side is feels like there's a dance party going on because
Okay.
there's a lot of excitement. So you've got a crew of inventors,
Okay.
a crew of discovery. This is what created a great deal of interest in their physical life, and you're right joined into that vibration because this is I'm getting is this is what's leading us into this next generation, is the deeper understanding of that the world was not completely ready for at the
Yeah.
time that they were bringing it forward.
Wow. That
Should
makes,
we sorry, go ahead.
oh, go ahead now.
I was just going to say, you finish that. I was just going to say, should we pull a card for everybody before we go
Sure.
today? Now
Sure.
that we downloaded that,
Well,
like that
yeah.
took a really interesting turn.
Well, no, that makes so much sense because like I I don't know who I was expecting. I think I was expecting like my grandpa or something to be like the male that had like an important message for my family or something. And so then when I connected and it was like someone not even from this century, I got like really confused because I was like, I don't really see many people that are not of this century. You know what
Yeah,
I
yeah,
mean?
yeah,
Like,
yeah,
and then I was like, is this like a spirit that's stuck? And then I was like, I don't think so, because I don't think they can be stuck for that long. And so then I was just kind of watching them, and then I was just really more confused than anything. So that's what happens to me when I meditate, is that I think my rational mind tries to like
yeah.
understand things and I get confused, and then I'm just like, okay, I'm out. I'm so confused, you know? And so, like, I don't know. So,
It's innovation and discovery, and so all of that information, like everything that you're researching, it's that energy, that's what's already opened up in you. So when we
yeah,
talk about all of these shifts, that's what's
yeah,
already opened up. So you're having this physical bringing it together. And
yeah,
when they come to you and you see them doing things, observe and just ask questions without trying to figure it out. Be like, what are you doing? What's out the window? You
okay.
know?
Well, that's what I'm trying to do. And I've gotten a hair bit better at it over the last week or two. Like, because that's what you do when you meditate, right? Like a thought comes in, you don't judge it, you let it go. But then when I get into like where I'm connecting to someone, an image comes in and I immediately want to know what it means, why it's here, what, you know what I mean? I'm judging it.
Yeah.
And then another one will come in and I'm judging that. And then, so I'm trying to do more of like instead of going like, okay, you're an old lady, I'll just be like, old lady coming in and what would you like to, like, I try to like just keep, what are you here
Yeah.
for? I'm trying
Yeah.
to like not judge and get a whole story. I'm working on it.
Try the what I do is, I know that I used to get this image that would come in all the time, and I was so like in the very beginning, I remember I was like, I want to know, is this a past life? Is this a, what is this? And it was a big
Yeah.
tree with a swing, like one of those old wooden swings, but the picture was more of a black and white with a little bit of a purple tone to it. And I was always standing like a few feet away from the swing. And so I would have these different visuals of the same area, and it was driving me crazy because I'd get that little point of light, and there I'd be. I'd be standing there. And when I started to, because I'd be like, what is this? And that would pop me right out.
Yeah.
And then what I started to do, which really helped, was actually it was color. Like, that's a beautiful color. Or I wonder what's beyond that hill. So rather than becoming personal with the
One word
scene,
questions.
because that's
Yeah.
our ego, right? So
Yeah.
rather than becoming like, what does this mean to me? I would rather be in the experience and start to wonder, start to create
Love that.
that way. Yeah.
That's as a speech pathologist working with kids that have social deficits, that's what I always tell them. I wonder what so and so is thinking. I wonder what so and so would do if they knew blah 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 blah. Like,
Yeah.
so I wonder questions. I can totally connect with that. I love that. I have to say I have improved because normally before I
Yes.
started doing the whole like let it go, I would have seen an old guy, like not old, but centuries old. And I would have been like, I did it wrong. I'm out. Like something got messed up. But I was like, I'm just going to watch him. I'm just going to let this, roll out, play out. So, but now I'm going to be like, yeah, I wonder what you were reading. I wonder what you were writing. I wonder what
Yeah.
was on your paper. So,
Yeah. Yeah.
okay, that's what I will do.
That's so cool.
I'm excited.
Why don't we do, let's do, I've got a few
With
decks
that,
here.
you have to go if you want to.
No, no, no. Actually, so I'll say why today is Rob and I's, because we're filming on March the 9th. Today's Rob and I's 20, I was going to say 29th. No, not quite that long. Today is our 23rd wedding anniversary.
You're not that far off. Oh my
Yeah.
gosh.
Yeah, it's our
That's
23rd.
exciting.
So
23
we,
years. Wow.
yeah,
Congratulations.
23 years. Thank you. We had a little conversation this morning over our coffee, reminiscing, which we do. I mean, we do that a lot, but we were reminiscing about the different stages of our relationship and what we thought, like how we thought things were, and what we thought, like we were kind of laughing, like, oh, we thought we had it licked. We thought this was the way things were. And then something would come in and swoop and change us. But, overall, we both were like, we must be doing something right because we still enjoy each other's company. We still really like being together. And I just said to him, there's like there's a certain energy that you can't always describe. You can't always nail down, but I used to say to him all the time, being married with him was like having your best friend sleep over every night. You have a sleepover every night because we could just talk and talk and talk, and that's we
Mhm.
do. We're talkers with each other. So
It's hard to
that
imagine.
yeah, and I mean, you meet Rob, you'll understand because the man can talk. He's a
Oh gosh.
talker, but
Okay.
so we complement each other nice in that way. But the best part is there is like a depth that I think neither of us really understood about each other or ourselves in the beginning. And we both acknowledge today, like it really, like, yes, it did take a lot of these experiences. And there's so much more because we both feel like there's so much more to discover because both of us are changing so much. But I think the key is being okay with that, not holding on to one idea of how our relationship is or what we think it needs to be. Because I remember at one point there was like an expectation of what I thought a relationship was supposed to be and trying to make it meet that expectation. So it's really interesting how you go through different states. And I'm sure
Mhm.
anybody that is been married for a long time or with somebody for a long time can understand all those different states. Right, Maren?
Mhm. Oh,
Okay, so I'm going to pull a card. So in
okay.
honor of our anniversary, before we go, I'm going to pull a card for everybody for this week and the message that our collective needs to hear. So I'll pull one card and of course, just take it however it resonates with all of you. Ask for the most important message. Interesting. Okay, so it says divas. Look at that crystal.
Look at that crystal.
Look at that crystal. Look at that face. Look at those eyes. Look at those eyes looking at us.
I mean, I'm
That,
not gonna lie, it kind of looks like a White Walker, but
well, that tells me, to me, it's wisdom.
okay.
That's wisdom.
Like the light
And
is glowing from his eyes and his
yes,
third eye, and okay.
yes. And, we were talking when you were saying about the Greek, the Roman, ancient Greece. And
Yeah, look at the color too.
yeah. So, how is that for a little bit of a confirmation of what we were talking about today with the crystal, the color blue, and some validation in what we were talking about today? They're
And the
letting us
man.
know. And the man letting us know, because all of these frequencies, the energies that we're talking about, although we're saying like individualizing it to a person that existed at a certain period of time, they're all connected in, like we all are, to these different states of consciousness that do exist all at once. And so this particular being has come forward today to let us all know that there's so much more to discover, that none of us are alone. We're all connected into these vibrations of wisdom and information, and that our reality is really just a little spectrum of what we understand right here in front of us and around us. There is so much more. So, this is a message to walk wide open with your I wonder what, I wonder if, what if, what if this is possible? What if there is another side to this? What if this was true? And to walk with that awareness, because when we give ourselves permission to do that, we start to open up new doors of information and discovery. And each and every one of us has an adventure within us, has an unfolding, a story. So it doesn't matter what's happening in your life, that one thing that could be happening right now that you say, oh, this is really uncomfortable, something on your skin, bumping your eye, whatever it is, there's so many other layers to what that means. So give yourself permission to enjoy and to wonder and to see what comes about. Because, like a choose your own adventure, that's what we're on. So,
Love it.
yes. So, with that, here's another Mentorship Monday wrapped up. And next week, we have an awesome guest.
I'm so excited about next week. You guys are going to love next week, but I'm
Yeah.
kind of still blown away by today. I can't even think about next
Yeah.
week yet. So I got
Yeah.
a lot
That
more
was, that
research
was
to
good.
do.
It was good. I know. I
Um,
think we got to process a little bit of this because the energy is pretty intense.
yeah, yes,
Yeah.
absolutely.
All right.
Well, thank you so much. I'm really looking forward to next week. Enjoy your anniversary,
Thank
and
you.
and we will see everyone next week. Thanks so much for watching.
All right. See you next week, everybody. Bye.
Bye.